everyone. This is Coach Mike Ronchetti, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from Indiana with us today. It's my pleasure to welcome Trevor Hess to the show today. Hello, Trevor.
Good morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Excellent, wonderful. It's a beautiful day here, and I'm sure we're going to hear about where you're at, and hopefully it's beautiful there too. Let's start with you introducing yourself a bit. Tell me a bit about your personal story, as well as where you're born, for example, or where you're living now, your family, hobbies. And again, I always like to ask, do you have a funny story you want to talk about where somebody says something about you, or you think about yourself differently? We love that part of it. Talk about it. Give us some background.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm sitting here in Florida, Indiana, and yeah, it was quite cold this morning. We're back in a cold snap, and we're part of we do heating and cooling for work, so we like it when it gets cold. We like it when it gets hot. Keeps us busy. But yeah, I was born and raised in Pennsylvania. So growing up as a boy, I helped my dad in the hardware store actually till I was about I think 12 or so. He had a retail store, and I'd go sweep the floors and work at the hardware at a very young age. When I got in my early teens, I think about 13, 12, 13, my dad got into the trades, into heating and cooling. So I grew up in the business. Helped him after school. I was homeschooled, so I'd help him after school, holding the flashlight, running duck, that kind of stuff. So been in it all my life. I remember when he started his first business, we were working out of our our little Dodge minivan. We'd load up the tools in the back of that little Dodge minivan and go plumb up boilers and do stuff like that. So anyway, we're currently at Camflo Heating and Cooling here in central Indiana, located close to Lafayette, so Purdue area. Do residential and commercial HVAC and indoor air quality services and installations. Uh, that's where we're at today. And you mentioned the funny story. It kind of ties back into business a little bit. I believe I was right around the 13-year-old age. I went with of course, like I said, is helping dad in the business. We sold a lot of outdoor furnaces in Somerset County, where we were at in Pennsylvania. And we had this outdoor furnace trailer that we would use to load up our outdoor furnaces and take them, set them on the pads. And I went with a friend and his dad to an auction one day, to a sale. And they had it was a late 80s model or an early 90s model Dodge pickup truck, dual stacks coming out, flatbed, stick shift. And as a 13-year-old, I thought this was the coolest looking truck that could pull our outdoor furnace trailer. So I called my dad, said, "Hey Dad, there's a nice Dodge truck here. It'd work beautifully for pulling our outdoor furnace trailer. Do you think I should bid on it?" And he tried to ask some questions, but see, the problem was we didn't have good cell service. So I thought that he was wanting, and we couldn't hear each other. So I was not sure whether he said to buy it or not to buy it. And I thought I caught, he said, don't go higher than 6,000, I believe it was. But again, we had terrible cell service, so we were cutting in and out. So this thing comes up to be sold, and I had got a number, or I think I used my friend's dad's number. But anyway, I started bidding on that thing, and I didn't stop till I got it. And I think it really was only around, I think it was like $3,500 that I paid for that truck, and I was just thrilled. Got home, of course I couldn't drive, so we had to go home, pick up my dad, take him back, pick up this truck. Thing ran terrible. It sounded awful. It smoked when it ran. Dad's like, I don't know if we're gonna make it home in this thing. And he wasn't upset with me. I think it was a little bit of a learn a lesson type of thing. But long story short, we got the truck home, took it to the shop, and the mechanic says, "Yeah, I'm not sure how this truck's even running." He said, I don't remember what was wrong with it, but something major. It needed a whole new motor. So about 2 days later, the sale barn calls back and says, "Hey, we have a check here for this truck for $300. You only wrote 300, even though you wrote 3,500 in the wording." And my dad says, "Hey, I tell you what, we'll bring that truck back. You can keep our $300, and we'll just call this a day." And they agreed to it, and we bailed out of that old truck. But my family My friends still make fun of me for that story to this day. So I thought of that one when you mentioned that. But
That's a great story of life, as well as tolerance of your father learning to teach you by doing rather than
yeah,
by saying. That's wonderful. Good.
yeah,
Thank you. Curiosity. You do have family. You mentioned to me offline. Can you just share a little bit of that? It would be wonderful.
yeah, for sure. I'm married. That was actually what drew us to this area in Indiana. Like I said, was from Pennsylvania, and my dad had a business opportunity out here with Camflo, and at the time I was dating my now wife Heidi, and she was from this area. So my whole family actually moved out here for business and church reasons, as well as we had a connection with with some friends. So I'm married. I have three daughters.
Oh,
They're
that's great.
very soon to be 8, 5, and 1. So they keep us busy. And yeah, as far as hobbies and things like that, we like to camp. So we have a camper and do a lot of camping in the summer. And the girls like to go fishing, and I do a little hunting as well. So that's kind of the takes up most of my non-work hours.
Uh, thank you for sharing all that. So moving a little bit more to your business, I mean, you obviously tell the story of your father's kind of the lead, and you're guiding under him and learning under him. What did you reach a point at, or when did you reach a point that you had the confidence that you could jump in with both feet with him? I mean, maybe you did that very early because you never knew anything else, but or maybe not. Maybe there's second guesses. Hey, should I do something else in my life?
I think there was a time when I was younger that that I was looking around thinking it sounded more fun to drive an excavator, move dirt, or do something like that. But the more I got involved with the trades and in this business, realize how many opportunities there are. And really the sales and marketing side's what I enjoy, as well as just leading people and watching them grow personally and professionally. And that's part of our purpose statement and everything like that. But I think I think again, my dad always gave me a lot of leash, so he would lead by, how do I say this, letting me figure it out on my own, in the sense that he would give enough information that I would know how to, but he wasn't afraid to let me have trial and error, and not get after me about that, if that makes sense. So be there for support, and give me just enough to where I could have the information I needed and feel successful.
So, Trevor, tell me a bit more about your company itself, as far as what is your uh, region that you touch, how many, I guess, zip codes almost where you're at, how you guys grown over the years. Tell me a little bit about, Camflow.
Yeah, Camflo was established in 2009, and the name actually comes from the two small local towns here, Flora and Camden. So the original owner took Camden and Flora and named it Camflo. So that's where the name comes from. And in 2012, my dad bought out the original founder of Camflo, and then I came in soon after that, 2013, 2014. And it was just a couple of us. There was 3 or 4 of us total back then, and we've kind of slowly grew the company. My dad was a firm believer in always making sure that the foundation was there, and we didn't grow just to grow, but we grew at a slower pace maybe than some of our competitors that have come into the market and just exploded in a short period of time. But we believe that building it intentionally and slower, it's going to potentially be slower, but it's sustainable. And what we're after is long term thing here. We're not looking to build something and flip it and sell the business. So we were right down the street from here in a small, I think it was about 1,200 square foot shop, and an old Chevy dealership came up for sale in the center of Florida, and we bought that about 2.5 years ago, and that's been a
Hmm.
nice expansion for us. We're able to spread out a little bit and reorganize and add a few more crews, and so we're thankful for that, and that's been a a great thing. As far as our reach zip code wise, we serve about a 50-mile radius of Flora. So we get into quite a few towns within that radius. So we serve a decent sized area.
Fantastic, fantastic. So for everyone listening, you can check out the company in the link in the side of our description below, right on the LinkedIn page that you're looking at, and of course go on to LinkedIn and comment if you wish about the interview and say hello to the guys. That'd be appreciated. So okay, kind of moving on to the impact of other people in your life a little bit. I realize that your father's had a big influence about it. Um, is there anybody else who kind of pushed you or inspired you, or has it really strictly been your father?
I do think that my dad, first and foremost, deserves the credit for where I'm at currently. I think just him having the trust in me and has given me the confidence that I can do it. He's always been a big believer in not reinventing the wheel, and so that's something that we do here is someone that's doing it well. Tommy Mello always says success leaves clues. And so if you see a successful business and a coaching firm that's been there, done that, we've relied heavily on those resources because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, my dad always has said, why should we figure it out when someone already has? Let's learn from them. Let's implement what they're doing. And so there's a lot of things like that we've done in our company where we just what do you call it? Steal and duplicate. You're not really stealing because they're giving you the information, but
Right,
uh,
right.
so so that's something I really believe that I also always tell our team that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that I'm sure you've heard that quote. That quote's not original with me, but I use it in our meetings a lot, and so that's just something I really believe to be true.
Well, thank you for those ideas as well as where the sources was. That's appreciated. So going back to the kind of question of people helping you and such, and you mentioned you've all along have used outside coaches and helpers, and I want to have you reference that a little bit for me. But it goes back to if I asked you to pick three people along your personal business journey, and it could be tied to your father in direct business or other people that you just respect in business, that you have been the most grateful for being around and they've helped you out. Uh, who might they be? I mean, I'm not suggesting naming names. If you want to name names, go, or just kind of responsibilities in your life and that helped you out. Please share.
Yeah, I already mentioned dad, so
Hmm.
that's definitely the one person that I would say. Also, Jason, our office manager and business partner, has been a boost. He came on about 3 years ago. His dad was the original person that started Camflo. So his dad and my dad were in partnership. My dad bought him out. Here we are 8, 10 years later, and Jason came back into the business and has bought in as well. So
Yeah.
now it's the two sons of the original founders. So Jason, when he came back to, he really brought a lot of strengths within the process procedure. He had a lot of experience in other companies and seeing how they structured things. He didn't have HVAC experience, but he runs the financial side, and so a huge shout out to him for what he's brought to the table here. And Weldon, Nate, both they're our management team and really the whole team at Camflo. It's not possible without all the people, and we just have a great group of people outside of our team members and things. I would say our coaches, especially EOS, the
Hmm.
Gino Wickman book Traction.
Hmm.
Dad brought that book Traction to the leadership team a year and a half ago, and we all read it, liked what we heard, felt like it was the exact thing we needed to kind of get over our we had grown to the point that we outgrew some of our process and some of our meeting structure and that kind of thing. And so we're at a good point to implement the EOS process, and that's just been tremendous. And a shout out to Brian, our EOS coach. He's been a huge help in getting us onboarded with that, and we're about a year and a half in with it, and it's going great. Someone else that has really helped us was his name is David Whitaker with Essential Insights, and he spent a couple days with us, a couple different days, several sessions, really working on our why, figuring out our why in business. So we worked on our purpose, our values, and our mission, and that was good work, because what we came away with there was getting everybody to understand why Camflo exists, how we're going to deliver that service, and the what. And so that was really a big turning point for Camflo to kind of get our culture defined and what we're about and how we're going to go to market and serve our customers. And so yeah, I think those are the EOS and the Essential Insights have been. And there's some industry specific coaches and training that platforms that we use as well. But yeah,
Well, thank you for sharing that because that's very, very appreciative of learning that you're just not doing it yourself. You're not inventing the wheel. You're going outside and scraping other people's ideas and forming into what you have, as well as comfortably getting guides. I call them guides to you to get you down the path. They're not doing the work, but you're doing the work, and that's neat. So, over the next 1 to 3 years, what's your number one growth opportunity or challenge do you think you're going to be to achieve your goals?
so in the within the next year, we do plan to open a new location in Lafayette just to better serve that area, be better positioned in that area. There's a lot of market opportunity, and we're about 30 to 40 minutes from downtown Lafayette. And I think one of the biggest challenges will be just the staffing and the operations of all that. So I'm gonna have to stretch outside of my comfort zone and try some new things and read some more books and visit shops that are doing it. And so I think that's the biggest challenge, is just the mechanics of how all that's going to work and look. But that is in our 1 year plan. And then
Right.
our future, moving out, we plan to continue that model and add locations as we're able.
Fantastic, fantastic. We have a leader in our business, the business coaching world, named Jim Rome, and he just passed away recently. But Jim's kind of a legend because he believed that you tend to be the average of 5 people that you end up spending a lot of time with, and you end up your personality as well as how you do your life. Do you think that advice? Sometimes we have people who say, "Hey, that advice is good advice, but it's not for me. I can do it on my own." What do you have to say to those type of people?
Don't try it on your own. It's not possible. Not possible. And to do it on your own and be successful is not possible, I guess, it would be my simple advice. Um, you have to have people around you. I would say get involved in a group, small group. One thing that I enjoy doing is twice a year we meet up with two other HVAC companies out in Ohio. So we'll go to their shop one visit, and then they come to our shop, and we just go back and forth with us three companies. And it's insightful to get to see other people's operations and sit down for a day and talk about the challenges. And the thing is, we're all facing the same challenges, and so it's nice to have a soundboard and spend that time together. I think um, I simply would say trying to do it on your own, that's going to be a lonely journey.
Thank you for those words and thoughts. That's appreciative. So, Trevor, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people who've helped you on your journey. What would you like to just say to them now?
Yeah, first off, I guess the first thing I want to do is thank God. Thank God for everything that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Him. I think we're blessed by Him. I want to make sure that point that glory back to God. So first off, thank God for everything. Um, and I also, yeah, want to thank my dad again for everything he's done. Our team, Brian from EOS, Daryl from EGIA. There's just a lot of people on that list that have participated in the success of Camflo. I also, want to thank my wife Heidi and her support, and my girls. Sometimes there is some late evenings involved, and there's some sacrifice on the family side once in a while, but try to keep that in balance. And when I'm home, I'm home. When I'm at work, I'm at work. Try to take the work hat off when I walk through the door and put on my dad hat and father hat and husband hat. So that's the goal. But yeah.
Thank you for that sharing of that. So, Trevor, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.